Alright, hello and welcome back to the Forgotten City. Last time we finally figured out who was at risk, who was the one most at risk to, well, actually, before we go in, remember, alright, as per this reminder, this game is entirely story-based, and as such, it's probably only worthwhile to watch this to see my reactions after you've played through yourself, or if you have no intention of playing the game. So, well, I actually really do appreciate the story, enjoy the story that's going on here. It's not a especially long game, but it's a very well written one as far as I'm finding. So I would absolutely recommend it if you haven't already. Well, I got that in before I got. Glad I was able to get that in before the recap here. Alright, I had just gotten him to speak with everyone, so let's see here. Let's see her reactions.
You're here. And that...
I was gonna see if that gave some new dialogue, but evidently not. Let's go.
You, Tantalus, just but... I... And now...
Should feel a lot better now. I don't understand. No, they never do. Alright, it's Sentius.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
Wow, they just didn't notice that. Interesting. First things first. It's one denarius. Or is it denarii? No, denarius is singular, denarii is... Alright, let's see here. Might as well see if he says anything new since I haven't spoken with him
Hello
much.
there, friend. May I say, that is a glorious bow you're carrying. Do you mind if I ask where you acquired it?
With the horn of the edge escape after your harrowing ordeal, a child back in. Never believe me when I
Well,
told
I'll
you.
take your word for it. But perhaps you'd be interested in selling it to me. I mean, it's not as if you have any use for it down here.
It's not for sale. Oh yeah, it's not even pretending I have a reason to sell it to him.
Now you're
Well, if he's
talking,
screwing
I'm
other people, maybe I should
How
give
about
him
100
some...
denarii?
Interesting. I can go for 5,000. That's absolutely gouging him, but at the same time, I need the 1,000 for that, and 2,000... I need the 2,000 for the, If I go with 5,000, he might say no. If I go with 1,000, he'll pay that, no doubt, but I need 2,000 for the story, so let's go with that.
Oh, that's a little excessive, don't you think? It's not the bow of Ulysses we're talking about.
Think of investment, a few coins in exchange for riches beyond imagining.
All right. But I'm going to need you to tell me before I pay up.
Well, in that case, deal's off.
Wait. Let's not be too hasty.
Yeah.
friend. I just want a little assurance that I can trust you, that's all.
Well, the golden rule will allow me to break,
Suppose you're
right?
All right, you drive a hard bargain, but here's your money. Now, the location of that bow.
It's in the Shrine of Diana.
What? But I already knew that, you imbecile. Everyone knows that. I can't take that golden bow because stealing from the goddess in her own shrine would break the golden rule. You promised to tell me where I could get one of my own.
I mean, you could take it and keep it for the rest of your
What is
life.
this? some kind of joke?
Gave me what I wanted, gave you what I promised.
I don't believe this is happening.
I do love a good loop.
Don't even talk to me.
I genuinely did not think that would work. I figured he'd know.
Don't even talk to me.
Okay, so if I swindle him out of his cash, he won't talk to me the rest of the timeline. That's fine. Of course, more of this. Alright, well, there's only...
Greetings and salutations.
Oh, Opus is alive.
Shalom, friend.
I can now speak to him. Let's do this here.
You
What's your
mean
story?
where am I from and all that? Judea, originally. But when
That
I was a
explains a
child, I
bit.
moved to Rome with my family, Romanized my name, and spent most of my life in the Jewish district of Trans-Tiberim, across the Tiber from the main city. That's where I was when the fires broke out. Everyone was running toward the river, and I, listening to my inner contrarian, ran the other way.
Oh, huh.
Every road leading out of Rome was in chaos, full of people with all their belongings
Need to be
in
careful not to
carts
bump my
and
mic.
brigands
It's a moment.
preying on them. Several hours down the Appian Way, I saw another Jewish family being attacked by 3 opportunists. So I picked up a branch from the side of the road and went to defend them. I can only assume they got the better of me because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a forest, by a river not far from here, with no memory of how I got there.
Yeah, more proof this
It's
is the
strange, though,
underworld.
because I still had
I
my
should have
purse
known
on me.
once,
Why would a robber knock me unconscious and throw me in a river, but not take my coins?
good on you
A
for
lot of
risking
good it did me. And that family. I sometimes wonder what happened to them.
Yeah,
I
just suppose you
don't.
know how to wait.
But even if I did, I'm not going anywhere. I have unfinished business.
What do you think?
Well, neither of us have a couple of hours to stand around talking about theology, law, and collective punishment, so I guess you're looking for a pithy summary? You remind me of an old story from my people about Hillel the Elder. He was approached by a Gentile and asked to explain the entire Torah while he stood on one foot. Obliging, he replied, "What is hateful to you, do not do to another. That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn." Of course,
A lot of stories can be boiled down like that
I
if you
want
really
to know
try.
is, what kind of a god sees a young woman abducted and does nothing about it? Not my god. That's for sure.
That's a good question.
Thanks. I just wish there was a way to find out.
Who are you gonna vote for?
Sentius, I suppose. I'd have to be insane to vote for Malleolus after what he did to me.
Fair enough.
All right, friend.
I'd have to be insane to vote for Malleolus after what he did to me.
Citizen. Name's Wolfius. Can't stand because we're all much it was
Oh, thank you for sharing your story.
that's all right. No,
Common sense.
I mean all these people just bumble along like nothing's wrong. Well, we're one bad decision away from being wiped out. Like the last lot of people who lived here.
And it's been going on for
Seems
quite some
like
time.
I'm
Is
the
this some
only one
experiment
ready
from
for
the
what's
god of the
coming.
underworld or something?
Whatever that is. And when it hits, it's everyone for themselves. You've been warned. I don't know. Set. Fire. Oh, I mean, see? See?
And we now know the statues are indeed watching. Although it may not necessarily be the person the statue is actually of, if that makes any sense. It could specifically be...
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway
Let's see
land.
here. What did Virgil say about the person who was doing this to him?
Ah, I hear. Look. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in
See.
the city of Noviomagos, You expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi.
Go on.
In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just the strange. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. If I had to guess... Strange bunch, if they're all like... Really? Who is it?
Oh, that's right. We did find that.
You went snooping in his place? That was risky.
Oh, I did know who it was.
We're
I
lucky
just
we didn't
forgot.
cross any
Oh,
lines. Have you spoken to him about it?
not yet.
I would talk to him myself, but I think that would just inflame the situation. It's probably best if you do it, if you don't mind. Nice to talk to you.
Alright, so I was able to complete that. Wait, he's right here. Useful.
Ah,
Are you the one threatening
no
Persian?
idea what you're talking about.
I know, as you have found an incomplete letter to your quarters.
Look, I haven't been at my best lately. I know that. It's the rheumatism. It starts with constant pain in all your joints. Then the pain starts to mess with your head. Makes you angry, mean. I know that's not an excuse for how I acted. But it's the truth. But with the willow bark, I'm already starting to feel like myself again. I'll leave him alone from now on. It's not as if I was ever going to hurt him anyway. I was just lashing out. I'm going to go and clean up the graffiti. Just forget this ever happened. Will you?
For sale, right? No problem. Well, I guess to be fair, we've had clear evidence he's been lashing out this whole time. So I don't think he's lying. Plus, we're all stuck with each other down here as far as he knows, so stirring the boat is just going to make more and more likely someone breaks the golden rule, including himself, so as long as he's aware of that and fixes the problem,
Any news
I'm
about
fine
my
with that.
secret admirer? Have you spoken to him about it?
Yeah, he said it won't be
Really?
bothering you anymore.
How did you manage that?
Found a treatment for his rheumatism, which is making him agitated and compounding some other personal issues.
Poor fellow. I've heard that can really mess with a person's head. Well done for figuring that out.
Happy to help. I think he wants to help clean up the graffiti
Really?
as well.
That's promising. I'll keep an eye out for him.
Yeah,
Nice to talk to you.
I guess I must have been too tired the other night to remember exactly that I needed to finish off that situation.
Harvey.
Now, we need to find out how to get Malleolus to drop out of the race.
Domitius doesn't usually...
I want you to withdraw.
You mean... Wait. As you... I'm Malleolus. I'm the... By...
I'd like you to withdraw from the election.
Why?
Oh, right, if I say... I remember last time I was going to do that, but I forgot. If you directly threaten someone, that immediately ends the timeline.
Don't talk nonsense. How?
No minister.
Nonsense! This is... I don't know how you know... And now, get out of here!
Know that he's Quintus because of his, oh right, I need the description. Claudia's sobbing. Okay, so I did need to take that letter, because that proves he is who he's...
Ave.
Alright, I guess I do need to take this. At least now, I was worried at some point I'd end up captured and this could be used against me if that happened, but it seems that's not the case, especially now that we know that the magistrate has been screwing us over from the word go.
Get out!
I knew he'd... Alright, so we need this in order to prove the timeline.
I'm not supposed to be.
I know, where do you keep your valuables?
Talk. This is outrageous.
Could just steal Malleolus's stuff. That'll break the golden rule and start the timeline over. And that's also more than enough money to keep this going. So let's do this here. Alright, so you know what? Let's just do that. Because this actually is useful.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Still not.
Impossible! Impossible!
I was a bit, I'll admit, lapsed. Man, there she is. Yeah, this explains why... Oh yeah, that chest had some stuff in it, but the statue blocked the way, so I need to get it out of there. It's extremely, difficult, I think. Here we are. Oh, come on, really? Serpentine, serpentine. Yeah, as soon as I wondered if exposing his lie might cause him to stop making the portal, but I forgot he can't stop making it. If he wants to truly have immortality, he has to keep up resetting the day like this. Inventory. Letters. Plaque. Or pendants. Get him. Bounty notice, yep. Different colored eyes. Alright, this is evidence. Balloons, good breaks. I need to secure things urgently.
You live.
Alright. But I'll go.
Right. Definitely want to get that last plaque, whatever it is. Don't want to make her feel good, even if she'll forget in a bit. Alright. Yeah, I did notice there was around 4,000, I think, in denarii in that chest. It's pretty good, but it's really hard to get to since you have to go through You have to lure the statue out first, everything else.
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
Unavailable to Galarius has finished his errands. Malleolus is unavailable until Galarius has finished his errands.
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little Sturkus? If I cop an earful from Malleolus, I'll be coming for you.
Ove.
Alright, so I can't speak with Malleolus until Galarius finishes speaking with everyone. He does it all rather quickly, but he does it in real time. Not too hard to follow, I guess. Everyone has a pretty clear schedule.
No time to explain. I'm supposed to give you the Sylphium resin for Yulia.
What? Quick, give it here. I'm just going to help her swallow this. I think she's going to be all right.
I wonder, can I swindle him out of more money? Because I won 3,000 thinking he'd refuse. Actually, we can see more dialogue, I guess.
Are you well, stranger? Have you been out in the sun too long? You seem a little confused. Perhaps you should go and see Lucretia in a clinic. Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us? Certainly. Very well.
Very well, another time.
It's nobody's business but mine.
There's no need for that. I just wanted to give you this willow bark to help you treat it.
A treatment? Really?
Where?
Thank God. Finally, some relief after all this time. Thank you, Galerius. You're a good man. And I'll be sure to leave Virgil alone.
While we're waiting on this, I can't help but wonder if perhaps there might be an even older place before the Sumerian ruins. Because it seems the underworld god has been up to quite a few different things. Been up to quite a few different things, so... Actually, while I'm here, I should go to the theater and grab this.
Salve.
Yeah, I basically just, as long as I get 2,000 gold every timeline, I should be able to keep this up, and that's 1,000 here. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to pay off the debt each timeline, especially if later ones let me get the guy to swindle. If I can swindle him out of 5,000 to have 2,000. I mean, I guess I've already...
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it.
Yulia!
Welcome.
I'm so glad you didn't go
Ooh, let's
through with
listen
it.
here.
It wasn't for lack of trying. And now Malleolus is going to... Wait. Why do you look so happy?
We're free. Malleolus just released us and we never have to set foot in that villa
Excellent.
again.
What? How?
Galerius arranged it somehow.
Really? That's... incredible. Oh, what a relief. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. Just rest up, get your strength back, and we'll celebrate
A
properly when
golden
you're ready.
bow, just like Apollo and Diana.
Galarius looks busy. I should speak with him later. Right here.
Salve again, friend. How is it?
You're living the same day.
You're a bit Sisyphus. Yeah, that... Sisyphus, he was forced... Oh. Anyway.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
Good man, Galarius.
Oh, now. Oh. Salve again? No.
I have a thought
I
I'm
bounced the eye, but...
Malleolus runs is gonna break the golden rule and...
How could you...
Could you... Oh.
Oh, wait. You've seen it in another time loop, haven't you? If you can do that, and... Alright.
Alright, now that we have the evidence that Nero has marked him as a heretic, we can... use it against him.
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in.
So you're Quintus.
My name is Marcus Malleolus Gurgis. You seem to have confused me with someone else.
You have one green eye and one blue eye, just the description in this execution order from Emperor Nero.
You mean my heterochromia? I am guilty of nothing more than having different colored eyes. And I'm hardly the only person with the condition. Alexander the Great had it too, as it happens.
Did he?
I like to think it is simply the way the gods have chosen to mark a natural-born ruler. Nothing more.
I can't prove it to you yet, but I will.
Unlikely, because it simply isn't true. Now, was there something else you wanted? I trust you can see.
Alright, I think this is what I needed to threaten to get Claudia to start talking. Because he's obviously treating her badly. I mean, she shouldn't be locked up in a room like this.
I'm not supposed to talk.
How would you like some help getting back at Malleolus?
An intriguing proposition. Go on.
I don't think Malleolus is who he says he is.
Perhaps you're not as silly as those clothes make you look. What makes you say that?
Just hoping we could find out his true identity together.
I may have the very thing you're looking for. Some time ago, when he still cared for me, he wrote me a love letter. Only, he used the wrong name.
I knew he needed to
Now,
do something against him.
addressing one's wife by the wrong name is not unheard of among philandering Romans.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
But in this case, the name he got wrong was his own.
Ooh.
I confronted him about it, and he stammered through some incoherent response. I let it go, eventually, and yet questions have lingered in the back of my mind ever since. But wait a minute. Why exactly are you helping me?
I want to force him to withdraw from the
To
election.
withdraw? Listen, I may not be Penelope to his Ulysses, but to ruin his plans to become a magistrate? You must think me quite mad. I've heard enough. Get out of here at once. Domitius, come.
So I have to go with I'd rather not say, or maybe go with her ego. I knew it would eventually get to this point. If I mess up, I need to reset the timeline, and there's a very easy way to be going about it. Okay, if you think you're being robbed so badly, fine, now you're being robbed.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Seems a bit busy. Oh well, points for trying to punch out that statue, buddy. Part of me does have concerns that the magistrate may be working against me, but at the same time, what can you really do? We're stuck with each other.
Well, so you? But I'll go.
Oh, she's a long way.
Tantalus, just as but then I had he this and
Alright, see if we can talk with Claudia then. We'll appeal to her ego this time.
All weapons are to be tossed into the chasm. Magistrate's orders.
Alios is unavailable until Galerius finishes his errands. Because one of his errands involves him.
You're not talk. You know, someone now. But.
See, such a beautiful woman treats a boy.
Oh, aren't you charming? I'm quite sure my husband would seethe with impotent rage if he overheard you say that. I love it.
Okay, so yeah, her appealing to her ego is the
Our
key.
interests are aligned. I imagine knowing his true identity will give me the leverage I need to manage him appropriately. But first, I need you to do something for me.
Sure, what do you want?
I want you to bring me some wine. Just one small urn should do it. Oh, don't
I've got
look
like
at
12 of
me
these.
like that. I know this must be hard for you to wrap your sweet little pleb head around. So what do you need me to spell out?
Why do you want wine
Let
specifically?
me tell you something about Malleolus. He talks a lot about freedom, but what he doesn't tell you is that he means freedom for men. After all I've done for him, counseling him through his entire election campaign, and he had the audacity to lock me in here. He said it was for my own good, and that my drinking was unbecoming of a lady, let alone the wife of a magistrate. I'll show him unbecoming. Tonight, at his victory party, I'm going to get good and merry, and if he tries to discipline me again, I'll threaten to expose his true identity in front of everyone.
Sounds good to
I
me.
am so looking forward to it.
Ah, why can't you get
You
yourself?
mean, aside from the fact that I'm locked in this room, and Domitius is right outside the villa?
That's actually a good
because
point.
there's barely any left in the city. In fact, there's only one small urn, as far as I'm aware. And getting it won't be easy.
Luckily, there does seem to be a handful throughout the city. He's still not many in general, though. That's probably why it says possibly the last one in the city. Actually, it feels like a number of these problems have had multiple solutions.
So, you'll help me?
There's some wine right here.
Thank you. Here's the letter.
It's like letter from Quintus. A love letter which Malleus accidentally acknowledges his name as Quintus. Quintus to beloved Claudia. For the time I dared, I thought of being trapped in here for the rest of my... For a time, I despaired of the thought of being trapped in here for the rest of my life, but then I met you. I discovered as long as I'm with you, I'm exactly where I should be. Mere words cannot express my affection, and so I'll perform a grand gesture in your honor. I'll become the city's magistrate so that I may govern with wisdom and strength, with you by my side.
Now, perhaps you can tell me who Quintius really is.
According to this bounty letter from Emperor Nero, he's a person who started the fires in Rome last year.
He's... Oh no. That's... quite a lot more serious than I imagined. I only wanted some leverage over him, not to destroy him. Give me that immediately. Nobody else must know.
I'm gonna hang on.
What? No. You tricked me, you mendacious little stirkers.
I didn't lie to
It
you.
was a lie of a mission. You were planning this all along and you deliberately concealed it. May Jupiter cut you down.
Oh dear, is that gonna activate it? No, it doesn't look like.
I curse you. I curse your life and mind and memory. May you be unable to walk or eat or drink. May this drag you to the depths. This is outrageous.
So we.
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in.
There, Quintus.
My name is Marcus. You... Unlikely, because it's simply...
Draw from the election. Because I know Quintus, your wife gave me your love letter, and Nero wants you dead.
So, it finally caught up with me. I suppose that makes you... what? One of Nero's assassins?
I'm not. No, I'm not. Fortunately for you.
You're not going to kill me?
Not if you were to draw from the election immediately.
So much work for nothing. Ugh. If I do it, you'll let me live?
I will, yes.
Fine. Ruling this cesspit of a city would have been beneath me anyway. I'll have Domitius notify the priestess of my withdrawal. There. You got what you wanted. Now, please, leave my villa and never speak to me again.
I like how it went, change his name to Malleolus / Quintus. Dominicus is going back in there since he no longer needs to protect him.
I've made a decision to withdraw from the election. I want you
that's
to go
fine.
and inform Equitia.
Sir? Are you under duress, sir?
More than you'd imagine.
I just had a change of heart.
But you were on track to be magistrate, sir. All that work, all that money wasted.
Those are my orders. Carry them out.
Let's find Galarius and speak him into running. Now he should be around here somewhere. This man, figure out how to get to persuade Galarius. Let's try and find. Let's use this. Find him. Decided to withdraw from the election. Oh, well, that's surprising, but thank you for telling me. I'll let everyone know.
Thank you for telling me. I'll let everyone know.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
Announcement. Willis has withdrawn his candidacy. His election. As any new challengers are nominated, will be re-elected by default.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
I just need to find Galarius. There's only a handful of places he can really be, though, so...
Citizen.
Salve.
As far as they're all aware, Galarius is the one who's been helping them this whole time, which means he's a shoo-in to win. Where can I find him? Down here? Oh, here it is, yeah.
Salve again, friend. How?
Let me see.
Sister. Oh. Anyway. Oh, no. Salve. No.
I thought about running
I
register
bounced
yourself.
the idea around once, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about.
Malleolus withdrew from the election.
Oh, that was unexpected. I wonder what could have possessed him to do that. Well, I guess it's time for me to step up then. I'll let Equitia know I'll be running.
There we are.
All right, friend. Hope you find a way to break that cycle you're in.
Alright. Arya should be over here.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
Are they? A new face. Are they? And
It's a question about skipping then.
I beg your pardon?
Livy was right. We are in the
Oh my. That is quite a lot to take in. You'll have to give me a moment. Let's see. If that is indeed the case, I suppose we'd better figure out what to do about it, hadn't we? We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have 2 options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide.
Alright, get back
May
to it.
Fortuna guide you. Arveg.
Sounds the
It
election.
must be completed by dusk, just the same as it'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Galerius, the challenger. Why do you ask?
Start the election.
As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason.
Holding it early may prevent conflict between brokers.
Yes, I have overheard some rather unpleasant arguments. The last thing we need here is additional conflict. Very well, I'll get things started right away. Citizens, it is time. Let us meet to elect our magistrate.
I hope you're coping.
Don't worry, I'm coping with living in this new area rather well, surprisingly. Yeah, Aquitia here, she's been rather key to this whole thing. Unless it's referring to she as in the wife of the god of the underworld. Most of them were hoping to vote for the challenger, I imagine, and I'm pretty sure most will default to
Citizens, we have a quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus and late nominee Gallus Galerius Helva. Marcus Malleolus Gurges withdrew his candidacy earlier today. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius.
Galerius. He saved the life of my dear friend Fabia.
Dacius.
Sentius.
Virgil.
The man who put a stop to the threats I've been receiving. Galerius.
Ulpius.
Galerius, the man who saved my life.
Rufius.
The man who treated my rheumatism. Galerius.
Nice.
Citizen.
Clean sweep.
You have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Gallus Galerius Helver.
What?
What?
Undecided.
What?
Magistrate Galerius, would you like to make a brief address?
I just want to say, this isn't something I ever wanted. Now that you've put your trust in me, I'm going to do everything I can not to let you down. I'll need some time to put together a list of the changes I want to make around here. But I promise you, there will be changes. My first order is that Dooley is to be freed. Horatius, release him from his cell immediately. Please. Wait, do I need to say please? I suppose not. That's it. You can all get on with your day. Nothing else to see here. Move along.
Alright, as soon as it is released, Dooley is released, I should be able to immediately grab the plaque. And that should be the last one. Then I can start going for the endings.
Let Galerius won.
Temple majestic.
He deserved it.
Deserved it. This could itself cause a paradox, because if
Fortune smiles on you today, Julius.
no, he'll
Magistrate Galerius here has ordered your release.
the previous magistrate will just release him.
I'm sorry it took so long, my friend. And it wouldn't have happened at all if it wasn't for a newcomer. So be sure to offer your thanks when you can.
I will. I will. Thank you, Galerius. I'm so happy.
I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Why don't you go to the baths? Then tell Georgius I said you could have some new clothes. Then I want you to go home and rest. I'll speak with you soon, Dooley.
Hello? I'm Dooley. Magistrate Galerius said I should thank the newcomer. Are you the newcomer?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, it is you. Then, thank you. You're a big helper. I was locked up, but they let me out again. I'm so happy.
Well, you're welcome.
You can have my shiny plaque if you want, and maybe you can help me find my treasure. My friend Hannibal used to look after me, and he said he always would. But then he died.
Oh, he was
But
the one who was killed in
before
the by the
he told
statue.
me if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious.
What was
He
it?
gave me a key to the cisterns and told me to keep it safe. He said there's something very precious way up high. Please help me find it. Please. I had to keep it a secret until I found someone I could trust.
I'd help you.
Thank you. Here's the key.
Key to the upper cistern. Alright, so this is the easier way to get in. I just went the long way.
Hope you find it. In the cisterns, way up high, Hannibal said. Oh, look over there. Something shining. Is it treasure?
Oh, what?
Maybe it is treasure. I can see it for myself. So pretty. And it's just lying out here in the open. Maybe nobody wants it. No one will mind if I...
Yeah, as soon as he said something shiny. Okay.
Take it.
Don't you dare.
The many shall suffer for the sins.
Yeah, as soon as he
of
said
the
something
one.
shiny, I thought, oh crap, he's gonna take something, and I can't exactly stop him, so. Serpentine, serpentine. Oh, he hasn't made it here yet. He's a bit terrified. Whispers an inaudible prayer. I guess he was right to lock up Dooley, given the golden rule then. Alright, we're gonna start going for the endings now. New save.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are?
Golden rule's about to be broken soon. You need to quietly gather everyone except Sentius in the upper cistern when the ground starts to rumble.
What? That's a big ask. But something tells me you're not kidding. Alright, I'm gonna stick my neck out and believe you. But I doubt I'll be able to gather more than a handful of people.
Cisterns are all the way up here, aren't they? No, I need to go higher. I'll be getting higher soon.
All weapons are to be tossed into the chasm. Magistrates.
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
Salve.
I have all 4 plaques, but I'm not going to be doing that one. I'm going to do the cistern ending first. Okay, here we are. Now that I have the key, I should be able to get in there. There's Sisyphus, I'd assume. First I need to talk him down.
Salve, friend. Welcome. Ah, another. We've all. Are you? All right.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh,
That's the. What?
I know. Please,
I'm sorry.
please help.
I'll talk to him.
You. Well, you don't. If. No, I am out. Wherever you are.
Oh crap, I couldn't do it.
My love. I'm sorry.
Oh, Pierce, no!
Right, because I didn't save Eula first.
That was not your fault.
Ooh, that was a lot of fall damage actually. Whoops. That went a lot worse than I was expecting. The cisterns are over here, I think. Yes. Lead resolved. Particle. because nobody said anything. I know we've had this conversation before.
What?
I've told Glarus to lead everyone here so the golden rules are broken, they can escape too.
How did you know? Wait, did you hear that? He's here. He must be coming in through the door behind me. You distract him. Stay right here and keep him talking while I look for something I can use.
Here he is.
What did you do with Sentilla? Where is she?
Oh, come on, as if I'd tell you.
That is how it's going to be. Oh well, this doesn't change anything for me. So, you discovered my secret. So what? What are you going to do about it?
So he asked me to figure out who was going to break the rule knowing I'd fail every time.
Of course. There's no way you could have succeeded. Every soul who has ever found themselves here has broken the golden rule eventually. It is inevitable. Man will always sin sooner or later. Any idiot could tell you this. But where others might see tragedy, I saw opportunity. As I told you the first time we met, I found a way to cheat death. By reliving the same day over and over again forever. And I will continue living long after your dust.
Knew there was a way out and even locked up your daughter to keep a secret. Why?
Isn't it obvious? Because I have grown attached to all this. My title, my beautiful villa, the sun on my face, the music of birds chirping. And as long as this day keeps repeating itself, I get to enjoy it all, over and over again, for eternity. Don't you see? I have found a way to prolong my life indefinitely, to cheat death. I have become, in effect, as immortal as the gods. Can you honestly say you would not wish the same for yourself?
So you cheat your way out of this.
Do you really think you can take on a Decurion with that flimsy little bow?
I probably could, but I'll let her have this one.
Sentilla? Where is she?
I'm right here, Father.
Can't make the portal anymore, so we have to win.
For the sins of the one.
Come on, we have to go. The others should be right behind us. Hey, what's happening to you? That light, it's so bright.
Wait, what? Oh, we created a time paradox. By freeing everyone, by doing this, everyone's restored to their original timelines, including me. Point of origin. Talk to Al.
Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fray.
Oh, he was really young. Oh, that's right. He died before because he grew old and died. Alworth, I came here to find you.
Here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm Dr. Jones. I was hoping you'd know who I am.
Funny you should ask. I was just reading an old tablet I found here. Well, trying. My Latin is kind of rusty, but the last entry mentioned someone with the same name. It described an event about 2,000 years ago. Someone with your name appeared in the city out of the shrine of Proserpina. Freed an imprisoned woman named Sentilla, who then murdered her captor, breaking some kind of ancient law. It said the attack caused golden statues to come alive, hunting down everyone in the city and turning them into gold. Apparently, Sentilla and a handful of other citizens managed to escape, while the stranger disappeared in a flash of light.
Maybe that was me.
What? You're saying you were here 2,000 years ago? I'm not sure I understand.
When I first arrived in the present day, I found your corpse.
I'm sorry, come again?
Still have the art you carved into a tablet
Let me see
here.
that. God, why does this writing look so familiar? I've spent a lifetime in this place going around and around in circles. This is disturbing. But I don't understand how I could have written it.
Because it's from a timeline where it was written by a different version of you. I changed the past and your fate. Yeah, so basically a version of yourself got stuck in a time loop and you never solved it before growing old and dying of basically old age. Kind of. Let's just leave it at that. but thankfully I was able to save you.
I'm not following.
I helped until I killed a man who opened a time portal to drew you back.
So you're saying, because a man from 2,000 years ago is dead, he never created a time portal, so I never went through it, and that's why I don't remember any of this.
Now you're getting it.
Yes, you saved my life then, as well as helping a bunch of others to escape. That's a lot to take in.
Alright, enough talk. How to get out of this
Maybe
place?
we can escape through the same aqueduct Sentilla used, if we can find it.
It's right here in the cistern. Follow me. Exit through the aqueduct. Return to the river. What are you
doing? Pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Yeah, good idea.
Go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
Well, we managed to stop the one who tried to steal power that was reserved for the gods, so... Seems our buddy Karen is here.
You're back. But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al?
I found him. He'll be here in a moment.
What a relief. Thank you so much.
Oh, and her name is still
I was
corrected.
beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
I discovered your name is Karen, or is it Karen?
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Who are you,
You
really?
can just call me Karen, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time.
The truth.
That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
How did I die?
Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
I do.
As you wish. You were murdered. You were exploring an old tomb when you discovered a cache of forgotten relics, including 2 silver coins of ancient origin. Unfortunately, as you emerged into daylight, you were set upon by 2 thieves.
Dang, just for 2 coins.
A nearby hiker saw the scuffle break out and leapt to your aid, trying to help you recover your bounty. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not.
Wait, so the other person was
There
Al?
was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and
Oh,
you
so it was
followed
Al.
a few hours later. That man's name
Yeah, I figured.
was Al Worth. You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Karen's Opal by some, and so it was my duty to bring you here.
What's so special about these coins, anyway?
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans bearing their dead with a coin in their mouths, to pay the ferrymen for passage across the river. Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here.
Why is that? Is this an experiment
That
of
is
some
a
sort?
question you would have to ask him, if that were still possible, in light of the path you have chosen. I am just his servant, doing his bidding. Only now, I find myself bereft of purpose. You see, the coins on you and Al were the last of the 1,000 in existence.
Oh, so his...
There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
So there was all one big experiment?
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an event 2,000 years ago. Supposedly, the city was destroyed when a woman murdered a tyrant with the help of, well, my new friend here. I know how crazy that sounds.
Maybe not that crazy. That woman. I don't suppose her name was... Scintilla?
How could you... What?
She left a tablet of her own. I stumbled across it while I was waiting here. I think she meant for you to read it. Here, take a look.
Oh.
I don't know what became of you, or if you'll ever read this, but Octavia, Lucretia, Horatius, Equitia, and I will never forget you.
Alright, so most of them did in fact make it out.
It pains us
some of them
that
did.
so many of our dear friends were not so fortunate, including Ulpius and Galerius, who heroically tried to rescue Dooley, but never made it back. But there is no point dwelling on what might have been. All we can do is take this gift you've given us and try to show others the same compassion you showed us. We promise you that saving our lives was not for nothing.
It's entirely possible that Karen here kept it the entire... took it some time ago and to make sure it wouldn't degrade enough.
Sounds like you meant a lot to her. I'd love to hear your story, but first, you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
Alright. Alright, Karen. Ferry us home. Ending 3 of 4. How many might have survived if you've confronted? Alright, we're gonna go for what I'm guessing is the bad ending, where if you decide to just leave with the... Alright, as I mentioned before, this was actually originally a Skyrim mod that was really popular quite some time ago, apparently. So it's closer more to the original Skyrim release date than any of even the special editions, really. So, I actually did not know that until shortly before picking up the game. So that was pretty neat. And dang, I can see why they decided to upgrade it into its own thing, because it makes a good standalone story, that's for sure. Alright, we're going to be doing some more endings for the moment, so... I think if this starts when I think it does, then... Oh. Alright, so this is right before the ending. So if I need to reset the timeline real quick. Oh, this is for the other timeline here. I'm not going to do that one quite yet, but I do need to reset the timeline for better or for worse, so... Poor Galerius. To survive, we must all be kind. Corrected, we must all be wise. We must all be obedient. Corrected, we must all be... Alright, we have all 4 plaques, so we can deal with the God of the Underworld at our leisure, basically. Alright, let's see if we can screw this guy at 5k.
Hello there. What? No. Oh, that's a little. All right. Wait. Here's now. You boys. Don't even.
Alright, so yeah, you will pay. I guess he'll pay no matter what because it's a legitimate golden bow.
Don't you just love springtime?
Springtime is quite nice indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored.
Oh no.
I do.
Domitius, this is outrageous.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Thinking about it, I actually think it's very possible to beat this game on the first timeline if you knew exactly what to do. But if I do something like that, I might just do it off stream. Because that's speedrun stuff, I'm not too big on that. I'm here to show off the story and my reactions to it. Ah, excellent.
So?
I'm busy right now.
All right then.
Get out of your way. Alright, since we're going with the bad ending here, it doesn't matter who we save, I suppose.
Ixion turns, but I had I and now
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to confront whoever or the underworld deity is, because it seems he's gone by many names over the years. In fact, he may even have one before Nurgle, and we just never got around to it. Oh, that reminds me, inventory. Oh, dang, I have more than enough money to get this. Okay, that's fine. He's Lord of the Willow Bark, Roman Plaque, Goose Eggs. Oh, I forgot to read the, letter, apparently. I thought I took it with me. Inscribed stone tablet. Oh, letter from Sentius to Dooley. Oh yeah, I'd already received that earlier. When Dooley said this was given the reason to remind him. So yeah, I didn't need that at all, it turns out. It's one I already had. A bit disappointing, but it doesn't. Wait, what am I doing? It's this way to the, first cistern. Yeah, it's this way. Because it's off the beaten path. Intentionally, obviously, so that you,
You. Did we. What?
I look at it. Forget the others.
Thank is here. You distract him. Stay right here and keep him talking while I look for something I can use.
What did you do with Sentilla? Where is she?
If I
So
tell you,
that is how it's going to be. So you discovered my secret. So
what? What are you going to do?
What are you going to do about it?
So annoying I feel every time.
Of course. There's no... By reliving the same day over and over again forever. And I will continue living long after your dust. Do you really think you could take on a Decurion with that flimsy little bow?
Probably could, but I'm gonna let her have this one.
Sentilla? Where is she?
I'm right here, Father.
Guess she just set his cape on fire and he wasn't ready for that, I guess. That's why I don't want capes.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Come on, we have to go. Hey, what's happening to you?
Oh right, because killing him causes the paradox.
Right.
Now here we are.
Hi there. Well, really, I was just reading. Describe free.
That if I wasn't me.
Didn't for one moment think it was, but the way you say that makes me wonder. I mean, how many people with that name could there be in this place? I don't understand how you could have been here 2,000 years ago.
First arrived here on present day. So the tablet with this.
Let me see the. God, why does it? I've spent this.
Driven by a different version of you.
So maybe we. I'm gonna pause here.
Good idea.
You go on it.
You're back.
Discover the ruins of ancient
Really?
underground city.
Ow.
Kind of lost. There was a text from my new friend. I know.
Maybe
How?
I.
Oh, here it is.
I
What
don't
is
know
different?
what became of you, or if you'll ever read this, but I want you to know that I will never forget you, or what you did for me. It pains me that so many dear friends were not so fortunate. Ulpius, Sentia, Lucretia, Horatius, Galerius, poor Dooley, and the others. But please understand, their blood is on my hands, not yours. I will live with the consequences of my actions, and all I can do is move forward, trying to show others the same compassion you showed me. I promise you that saving my life will not be for nothing. Sentilla.
Sounds like you meant a lot to her. You two look exhausted.
Sounds good.
And you?
Alright, let's go. Various home. Ending 2 of 4. How many might have survived to be confronted? Alright, so yeah, it's definitely pushing you towards that one. Wait, what's end? Oh yeah, I don't know how I didn't think of it before, but yeah. There was a solution to this from the word go. I don't know, I didn't think of it. The whole, or rather, perhaps it's because you're not supposed to realize it at the start. Because you're supposed to think, oh, well, I can't kill him, he's my only way to get back. course, how could I not think of it? I was worried I had to protect him this entire time in order to make sure he could make the portal each time, but the thing is, making the portal period is what caused this to happen. I found it in the present time because he made it, and it's waited there until someone was taken through. Which means...
All weapons are to be tossed into the chasm. Magistrate's orders.
Don't be so fool. And if I die, I won't be able to open the portal for you again, meaning you'll have created a paradox. You see, it was my actions that brought you to this point in time, so if you kill me, you'll stop me from doing so, and you being here will be an impossibility. That means if I die, you'll be flung back to your original time, having caused the deaths of everyone here, and you'll never be able to undo it. Is that what you want?
Oh.
Now, get out of my villa. I'm bored with you.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't realize this was an option from the start.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Alright, so he openly admitted that killing him would take me back to my original timeline, but it means I won't be able to save everyone. Oh, hello, Al.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright.
Oh, there's a
Thought I
different,
was on your
actually.
lawn.
Notably different.
I'm Al.
Alworth, I came to
Well,
find you.
Here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Thanks.
Really? I was just reading an old... It described an event and murdered a local magistrate, breaking some kind of ancient law. It said that the voice of a furious god rang out, and the ground trembled and statues sprang to life.
Yeah, that's bad.
As the citizens screamed and died in pain, the stranger just vanished in a flash of light.
Actually, that was me.
What? God, this is... so you're saying, because a man from 2,000 years ago is dead, he never created a time portal, so I never went through it, and that's why I don't remember any of this.
Now you're getting it.
I guess. To let me die all over again. You saw the tablet. I spent a lifetime searching for a way out, and never found one. I can't see how I could possibly find one now, so it seems like we're both gonna die here.
So I made a mistake.
A mistake? You murdered a man in cold blood, and now there's a city full of dead people. It's only a matter of time before we join them. I guess all those old Latin inscriptions were right. Pro peccata unius multis dolabunt. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Yeah. I may have survived if you hadn't killed Sentius in cold blood. Yeah. Okay, I guess that explains it. So yeah, if we kill him, then the experiment just continues on as usual, and we get stuck there. Or as the next set. And, yeah. At least Karen confirms that, yeah, technically we're still alive, we're just in the underworld for whatever experiment the underworld deity is doing all this for. Actually, I missed a decent amount of dialogue there, so I do need to go over it again. Yeah, it's teleporting me up here because it wants me to do that ending. Alright, yeah, I must have missed the dialogue. I'll just do that real quick.
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
What did you idiots do? I want to get the see how the dialogue is actually a pretty big one. Oh, I can't go there down the stairs. I have to go here.
Oh. Well, here I... Really? That's strange. I was just reading an old tablet. It described an event about 2,000 years ago. Someone with your name appeared in the city out of the shrine of Proserpina and murdered a local magistrate, breaking some kind of ancient law. It said that the voice of a furious god rang out, and the ground trembled and statues sprang to life, firing arrows at the city's inhabitants. Apparently, as the citizens screamed and died in... What? Let me... God, why does this writing look so familiar? I've spent a lifetime in this place going... This is disturbing. So you're saying...
Open the time portal.
Because a man from 2,000 years ago is dead, he never created a time portal, so I never went through it, and that's why I don't remember any of this.
I get it.
I guess. So what you're really saying is, you brought me back from the dead to let me die all over again. You saw the tablet. I spent a lifetime searching for a way out, and never found one. I can't see how I could possibly find one now, so it seems like we're both gonna die here.
Well, I regret nothing.
How can you say that? You murdered a man in cold blood, and now there's a city full of dead people. It's only a matter of time before we join them. I guess all those old Latin inscriptions were right. Propic, the many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Yeah. There was a decent amount of dialogue there. I'll let the... Oh, I have to... The credits have to travel a bit before you can skip them. There we are. Alright, now we're going to do the final ending, but I'm going to be loading the game for this because, load game. This one's not an auto, so it has to be a manual.
Oh. All right. What? Are you... You're serious, aren't you? I doubt Domitius will let me talk to him, but I'll make sure he passes on the message. I'll go, but once I'm done...
Here.
Ixion, just as, but then he give, and now we.
Alright, here we are. Now we can place all 4 of the plaques in there. Alright, we should be able to do this one then. Opus won't be available until Galerius finishes his errands. But at least I can do the errands without spending money anymore, not that I really need to.
I hope you're taking care of yourself.
Place the missing plaque. Eternal 4 plaques of the obelisk. Here we are. Save game. Right, there we are. We are. More statues in here. Alright. His name. It seems these are all the same person. Let's go back to the start then. Nurgle, the fierce one. Let me in. Hades. Oh, I'm gonna go up then. Oh, Satier Hades. Lord of Silence that grants me an audience. Hades, Lord of Many, grants me an audience. No. Pluto, Father of Riches, grants me an audience. Okay, so I guess we have to go with his most current name. I see, I have to use... Oh, I see, I have to give the one that matches the architecture for it. Because this is Egyptian, I need to go with Osiris. Because this is the Sumerian one. Now, I call him Nurgle. Oh my. Wait, what? At first I thought this was just bright white light, but no, look at these edges. This is a computer room. Sci-fi. I guess he likes to keep, what the? Oh. Last.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so gracefully. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will.
Well, first things first, what's your story
My
then?
story is many thousands of years long.
I thought it was
need to be more
specific.
specific. What do you wish to know?
So you're a god?
It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by you mortals, not one I gave myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But
So he's actually a space alien?
There are rules even I...
And I must obey. Why do you look and sound so human?
My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand.
Oh, okay, so he can choose to take on a human form.
In time,
Interesting.
we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords. Desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive.
Can I see your true form?
Long ago, I swore to Persephone that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that.
Alright, that's fine. The woman on your left, is that?
This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. seasons. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal.
No.
Your gaze lingers too long.
Oh, sorry. And who is that on your right?
Is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by
Okay, so that's Chiron.
Kumutabal to the Sumerians, Kurti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible.
Rather straightforward,
she
really.
earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. We will talk more later. For now, ask your questions.
Alright,
as you wish.
As you wish. What is this
It
place?
has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago.
What was the wager that you made?
That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something distinct. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name.
Oh, interesting.
My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals.
Dang.
We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation.
Oh, so that's why she wants to escape.
Sleep, to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you, without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting.
Warrior King.
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Persephone.
Who built the city?
As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten.
Dang. How'd you decide who comes
To
here?
ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's Obol, or as coins for the ferryman. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for, only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind would have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Persephone's along with it.
How did humans learn about the underworld anyways?
A regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer, and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Ooh.
His words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place, in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth.
Oh dang, that's a kind of a lot to take in. Alright, so
of course.
Are you responsible for the golden
That is
rule?
merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing.
Why turn people into gold exactly?
That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold. And when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching, and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, the silent golden sentinels.
Where do all these golden bows
come from? When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of
so you could make duplicates of it.
Tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies.
What do you consider sin?
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added,
no, so you'll know, so no point in lying. Oh, I'm getting some frame drops. 1 minute. Let's wait a minute for the stability to return here. Alright, yeah, I'm getting some frame drops. Let's give it a minute while the stream is unstable here. Alright, I'll think about this while I'm doing it, but let's see here. Well, I want to say the principle's not as easy to apply as it sounds. Well, if I want to accuse him of not upholding it either, I have to be able to accuse him of it. But what do I have on him that shows he hasn't been upholding it? Oh, because he imprisoned his wife there against her will and not following her rules. Yeah, the bitrate's dropping like a rock. Is it resetting? What? Yeah, the stream is absolutely unstable. It's cutting into pieces. Alright, let's give it a minute to restore. Unfortunately, this does mean I'm going to have to download these and repair them later.
Enough. You clearly know nothing.
It's okay. Sure. Let me test something here. Sir Brunswolf is
I give your kind a second chance in life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. Was if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it.
How do you know when people sin?
I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes.
Is Prosimera connected? Statues?
If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask?
Reason, just
Then
curious.
What an odd question.
There's some terrible things happening here you didn't consider a sin. How
Do
can you let
plan
that
to
happen?
speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example?
Self-deletion.
I've seen no such thing, but in any case, taking one's own life is a self-directed act. It is not one that is done to others, however they may be affected by it. Therefore, it cannot be said that one who commits suicide has done anything unto others.
Like an extremely literal interpretation of the
Applying
rule.
this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. A literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language.
For a language full of ambiguity, doesn't that make the rule inherently subjective and unreliable?
Supposing you're right, and my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked?
That's bondage.
You speak of the moneylender.
How
How is that inconsistent with the rule?
Trapped with contract because of a law.
And he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. All he did was enforce the terms of a contract signed voluntarily by others.
Yeah, Hades, even in the game, Hades did that. If I said the concept of debt bondage like slavery is unethical, and that ours, he'll just say that as human laws, not his. But let's see what he says.
Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority. This is interesting.
Oh, he was actually intrigued by that.
How do people escape poverty?
It's customary to take out a loan. In some places, you pay for an
I
education.
see. And how long might it take such a person to repay their debt?
It depends. Typically decades, and sometimes they're
I fail to see how your system of loans is significantly different to a debt bondsman signing over his labor for 30 years.
Not the same thing, but I need to explain it.
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Now tell me.
Sin do you believe I've overlooked? Experiment, gold stash, abduction.
Abduction? You mean the magistrate imprisoning his daughter?
Okay, so he does know about that one.
He did so because she sought to escape. A sin I take particularly seriously. Better that he stops her from escaping.
Oh, that we might actually be able to get him on this, because escaping is not established as a do unto others, part of the do unto others rule.
Now tell me.
Price gouging for life-saving medicine's
The
not.
merchant. How is that inconsistent with a...
You wouldn't want someone else to demand such an outrageous price if he was
I
needed.
disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway.
Well, you can't know what to expect. You're speculating. But we do at least have confirmation he has 5,000, at least 5,000 gold of the denarii on him, which means he could very much pay that if someone was trying to gouge him.
Applying this rule always requires speculation to some degree. It requires us to ask what another person would want if they found themselves in another situation.
Doesn't that make it an
Not if we're wise enough to know the mind of man.
You can know the minds of other people.
Supposing you're right, then my look. Now tell me.
Experiments on golden
the midwife
statues.
in the palace, yes. How is that inconsistent with the rule?
She wouldn't want to experiment on if she was gilded.
The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. Those statues are something else now. Bloodless shadows, mere shapes of their former selves. They are forsaken. What happens to them is no concern of mine.
See.
Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked?
Whenever people say the gods are cruel, it shows how unreliable and subjective the moral code is. No better for them
Do
humans.
you honestly think you could do better?
No, that's not my point. No one's so perfect they can be trusted. You've become a tyrant.
I should strike you down for that.
And if you did, you'd be proving my point.
Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning? I may... If she was... Then... Do you plan... Do you on...
No.
I should... Now.
I don't want to fight him, or at least not if I can avoid it.
I've always... This should be the rope... It is... Yeah.
That doesn't sound as easy as it applies.
For you.
For you. Yeah, that's precisely what I figured he'd be doing.
Very well. Good. Only... It seems something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see to the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember fairy.
Oh, because the Charon is from the future.
If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
He cannot know.
To be blunt, I was hoping you could tell me.
Do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine has slumbered for 3,000 years.
Shouldn't you know this as the god of the
Tread
underworld?
lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. And answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek?
I want you to put an end to the golden rule. I want you to get out of here. I'd like you to put an end to the golden rule.
Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments,
The bow, because the bow is actually from his people, as he confirmed.
why should I put an end to the so-called golden rule?
Alright, first things first. The good news is, if we fight him, we now know for a fact that the bow can harm him because it's one of his own. It's the one from his own people, well, one of his relics. So it's not. While it's highly likely he is immune to any human-made weapon, this was made by his people, and therefore he should not be immune to it. If we select the Proserpina one, he's just going to insist that she knows. Oh, he knows best. So he knows what she needs most. We can't possibly know because we don't know her like he does. The Golden Rule's corrupted city will never win the wager, but he doesn't care about that. I'm pretty sure he genuinely doesn't care about whether humans survive or not. He's just gonna keep her in endless stasis if he has to. How can you expect us to live with sin if you don't do it yourself?
That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it?
Up against him. Alright, the Terrible Punishment 100, this doesn't work because he's the one who put the rule in the purple one. The purple one? What am I saying? He put the punishment rules and the punishment for it to begin with, and people have broken the rules, so that's them. Trapping them against their will, he'll counter by saying they're already dead. But didn't you abduct Priscilla and imprison her here?
I am well aware of the story told by the Greeks and Romans of my so-called abduction. It is entirely unfair. My love was dying, and I intervened the only way I could to save her life. What would you have done?
The fact that she's still she appears to be in her prime of youth, and the fact you saved her means that, this actually reminds me. Yeah, it's pretty familiar then. He probably considers humans to be pretty much dying by definition, since, so they always have an end. And I've seen that sort of plot line done before, but didn't she choose to...
It was an act of rebellion against the others. She knew I would have to act to save her, and I did. Because I loved her. I love her still. Accordingly, I reject your argument. These people were all dead when my servant found them. I gave them a second chance at life. Would you prefer to have simply ceased to exist? Accordingly, I reject your argument.
Alright, let me change my...
Very well.
Yeah, we now know he's never going to believe that, so he'll never win the wager.
And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up.
Rufus has become so paranoid he's jumping at shadows. Mice, convincing them that rebelling would break your law. Is perhaps gouging for life because he knows nobody can take it by force.
True. I have witnessed
him doing that. Rufus has become so paranoid that he's jumping at shadows.
Confused fellow, that one.
Well, let's trap people, convincing them rebelling would break your law.
Cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day.
Golden Rule itself is making it a lot worse, yeah.
Pathetic. You will need to do a lot better than that. That is a very serious act.
And terrible punishment for...
Every one of those people. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them.
Collective punishment is considered very egregious. If it presents in reverse, you wouldn't want me to punish you for the sins of other people.
But I'm a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I treat my own kind? You are not a...
Ooh, I think we might have gotten him.
You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights? Of course not, because that would be absurd, just as it would be absurd for me to treat
Thought I was on something there.
Equals.
What makes... I am genuinely curious of what makes it superior, so we can't be so different given you're in love with one of us.
My love for her does not mean I am not superior, now that she is mortal.
What makes your kind of superior?
Where to begin?
Where to begin?
Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands.
Oh, so they do have established lifespans.
In which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine.
Lifespan. Wait, so you're not.
It would be most unwise to get ideas about attacking me.
Why does wisdom and
because that is the source of our
wisdom and
power
technology make superior? Oh, well, but Gatry is fairly because you're more powerful.
You could say that.
You could say that. Wasn't it Romans that said treat your inferiors as would your superiors?
Have no superiors.
Crap, sounds. Did you say Jupiter was your leader? That's a hierarchy.
That is true. Go on.
So you're treating humans the way you would wish Jupiter to treat you. I'm saying is if you can't follow your own rule, how do you expect humans to?
For a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no. The very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster?
I really want to say this one that he made a mistake like anyone would, but at the same time, own up to it. I think this one's technically the one he'd respond better to. If I could just take a... Let's see here. If I could save right here just to see this response, I'd like to see it. This one will piss him off, even... The truth,
Your hubris grows tiresome. You will make a fine statue. Do you really think you can wound me, a god, with that primitive weapon?
Let's find out, shall we?
Pathetic. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Take Proserpina's crown. May need to ask the philosopher for help here. Rewind time, show Pluto you Proserpina's crown. Magistrate has no idea what he's about to be sending back in time. Inventory. Proserpina's crown, worn. Serpentine, serpentine. I'm really glad there is no sprint. There's no sprint meter in this game. Well, the good news is I can try again one last time to convince him.
Salve, friend.
I need you to take care of some things urgently.
Alright. What? Oh.
Tell me why you know all this. And
You, Sisyphus, attack or push just, but it. I had. He give. Enough.
guess I should have gone with my instincts in this first place, huh? Well.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. No go, but the one and what the dead first. That is merely the good. Oh, it is when I Charon. Wait. I tread lightly. In why? Ha! If you so. How so? True. That is. It is. It. These people, accordingly. Every. But let me. Do you? Where in which? Because. My kin. Make your. Let me. If you. How can. Wait. What? What do you say?
You
have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning.
So you never considered
Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that?
Perhaps he left you because perhaps he felt threatened by you and doesn't want a potential challenger. Perhaps he wanted you to abandon the wagers. Perhaps he made a mistake too. Wager would be.
Perhaps. But if that was so, surely I would have sensed his deception. How could I have been so blind for so long?
You're blind by love.
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the way Jern Lee for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
Can't we go to
Because doing so would violate the rules of my sacred agreement with Jupiter, and you would receive a hostile reception. The best I can do is return you to the land of the living. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest. Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready? Farewell, mortal.
Hercules is complete. Create a time paradox. Goal. Be able to go back the way we came, I guess. Oh, but this is the temple of his temple. It's gone now.
Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
Oh, worth a community.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
Bit far-fetched.
I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
Right behind you.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Good idea.
You go on ahead.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al? Oh, why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
I discovered you're not who you said you were. I remember reading you 2,000 years ago.
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Or
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, that most people find that you died of my role as the most ask as you both there was heat that meant you were.
Could have said the coins and out. Yeah, and with lasting existence, what does that mean for
It
you?
means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here.
Special about these coins.
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the well. A long time ago, my order.
Yeah, you mentioned my coins lasting existence.
It means there is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to. I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop—
Sounds good to me.
And you?
Alright, ferry us home. Oh, we're getting a 1 year later. Currently exhibiting. It's Al again.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius's tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
You're finally here. Remember me?
There's
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours.
Why?
Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life. Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
You're with
I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're gonna be around, we'd love to see you there. Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
The Oracle.
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you. So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable. Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside, with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us. For all of us. Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself. See you at the wedding, I hope.
Oh, hello. Hello, I'm Dooley. Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it. I live at Galerius and Equitia's house. They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth.
Or you never found your treasure.
Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. That's my favourite thing. Bye-bye.
I'm assuming he's talking about television.
Hi there. You're the Oracle, right? Oh, of course.
Dr.
Sorry.
Jones is fine.
And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation. Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and
I'm not sure
learn
just
and
placing
write
that at a
about.
time like that's a good idea, but have to deal with what life cards life deals you. Will the fresh
I
eyes
have
sounds
noticed
wonderful.
people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day.
You just take them for granted, that's for sure. Whatever happened to Malleus?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld.
Oh, that's about
After the
expected.
horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude?
I
Thank
think you're
you.
allowed to feel that way.
You're very kind.
What happened to Aura?
Ugh, someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently, he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck.
As of the Oracle, I foresee a terrible
Really?
disappointment in her future.
I feel better already. Thank you. You too! If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there.
I'll have to take you
I
up on
hope
that.
so.
Hey.
Horatius.
Hi there, I'm Horatius. I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Sentilla with us as well. So, thank you.
What are you doing with yourself
I'm
these
living up
days?
north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides.
What happened to your buddy Domitus?
He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one.
Oh, I'm glad you know
more
humor.
trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC, so he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. And they say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out, and his life along with it. You know what they say. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
It's a shame.
Perhaps.
Even if he wasn't a particularly pleasant person, I would have... I wish that kind of end, though I suppose he himself would say it was a worthy one.
And you. Farewell.
I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming.
See you again,
Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard.
Her nameplate
After
changed.
you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. He's... you know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere.
What happened to Sentius?
He's still there, all alone. The last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time.
Oh my.
Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me.
Did tell me once he wanted to live forever.
Then I suppose he got his wish.
It's good to see you again.
You too. See you around.
Well, I suppose that's another lesson in be careful what you wish for. Accretion.
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you. Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone.
I do like the effort that it
Speaking of which,
has to
I
change
wanted
the
to say thank you in
nameplates like that.
person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So...
What are you doing with yourself
I'm
these days?
studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time.
Good to see
You
again.
too. Don't be a stranger.
Hermit philosopher.
I take it you're the oracle everybody's talking about. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Met before, though I wouldn't expect you to.
I'm sorry, I don't remember. In any case, I'm Philip.
Finally learned his
I never
true
thought I'd
name.
leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive.
You can now have philosophical
And it
arguments with
seems I
people
have
all over the
Octavius
internet.
to thank for it.
What are you doing yourself?
I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again.
See you
My
again.
sincere thanks once again.
Georgiuson.
Greetings. You must be the legendary Oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance. I am Georgius.
See you
I
too.
am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that, I am most grateful.
Doing with yourself.
I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it. This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps one day Once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the Azure Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won.
Thank you, George. Perhaps I will. It's good to
You
see
too, my friend.
Fabia.
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia. I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure.
Welcome.
I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
It's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive.
Well, glad to hear. Sounds like a life well spent.
It really is.
Glad to see some have had a pretty easy time adjusting to this new life. I was worried the fish out of temporal waters would cause them problems, but glad to see a good amount are making. It's
Some soiree, innit?
Theseus.
Oh, hello at last. You must be the oracle I've heard so much about. I'm Theseus. Listen, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old relics I accumulated. Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you.
No, you thank me. It was entirely
Such
unintended.
a acerbic wit. I love it.
What are you doing with yourself these
I
days?
took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the oracle and future seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend?
Afraid I can't actually see the
Don't be like
future.
that. You can tell your old pal Theseus. I won't take no for an answer.
Print media is gonna take a huge comeback. Broadcast television is gonna be the next big thing. Do you know a bright future? Okay, so basically we have to lie to him. What?
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm gonna make a bloody fortune.
I'll be
Of
going
course,
now.
don't let me keep you.
Good evening.
Tavia.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you. I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it.
Doing yourself these
I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber. Not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counselor. After you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him.
Noble pursuit.
Thank you.
Sounds like a noble cause.
That means a lot.
I must praise this game. It's done a generally very good job of making sure that the options available are mostly similar to ones I'd actually want to choose.
And you. Oh, and I hope this isn't too forward, but some of us are going out for a drink after this, if you'd like to join us. Wonderful. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I know working with dialogue trees can be a bit difficult to sound natural, and even this game does have a few that feel a bit... the voice acting is stellar, I also want to say that. Everyone delivers their lines pretty well, which I appreciate.
Hello there.
It just adds the whole experience. But, where was I going with this? Oh yeah. I think they chose really well for how to word a lot of these dialogue tree options. I like it.
We meet again.
Livia. So you...
Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while, At least until I'm well enough to be independent again.
Any good poems lately?
You remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century.
Oh, wow.
And am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit.
Sure,
Men
you'd feel
have
the same.
called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence.
Yep. Perhaps you're right.
And you. Farewell, friend.
I could have probably spoken to everyone prior and their dialogue would be different. So they did a pretty good job of all this. Anubis. An ancient statue of Anubis, Egyptian god of mummification. Embalming, among other things. Yeah, I made a mistake by guessing Anubis instead of Osiris like I should have. Oh well. I still got Nurgle right. Arguably. Bosh.
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle.
Thank you, come on.
You know my name? Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place, and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous. For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures.
Oh dang, that sounds
spent
great.
the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun.
Sounds like you've earned it.
Thank you, Oracle.
Hello there. Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him.
Sorry,
Don't worry, nobody did.
What are you doing with yourself?
I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine.
I just do that.
Thanks.
See you again.
You too.
Ulpus.
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius.
Good to see you
I
too.
understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue
Evening.
and stopped me from making a terrible mistake. I'll be forever in your debt.
What are you doing with yourself?
I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope and missed out on all of this? So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way, sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. You too.
See you again.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you too.
I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for telling Galerius how to treat my rheumatism. I probably would have lost my mind if it wasn't for that willow bark. Although, I think your people have a different name for it. Aspirin, I believe. Thank you. Really. Sorry, I'm
no good with the mushy stuff.
So you're right, the statues really were watching us.
Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant.
That is unfortunately true. What are you doing with yourself
I
these days?
live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
Take it a step at a time if you have to. And yeah, the humans are pretty good at that. If a city burns down, they'll just build up a new one on top of it. If something's destroyed, it will be rebuilt. Or perhaps what I'm getting at more is the concept of you fall, pick yourself back up and do it again.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you.
It's Virgil, though your
wanted to thank you
hairstyle always did
personally
feel a bit
for
more,
getting us out
a
of
lot
there.
more
And
modern than
for
expected.
helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow.
So he was, the reason he was so aggressive towards Virgil is because Virgil accepted himself where he was, while Rufus hadn't. Sadly, very common tale in a lot of ways.
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam, just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
Yeah, it's way too easy to take so many of modern conveniences for granted.
You too. As Rufus said in his own laconic way, if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
I may just take you up on it. There's not too much left here. Latin plaque, almost walk this path, where the laws of the day help the virtuous to paradise in the city beneath the earth. The ravenous hunger of the avaricious sated at the banks of the stream, but in vain, where none from here may return. Metal dice towers stop people from cheating when rolling dice. Clearly, cheating must have been a problem among them. This block of wood, as in these, carved into a Greek symbol adopted by early Christians as a secret symbol of their faith. The starting backstory, you choose Egyptian fate that translates the many sins of one. As expected, I guess. If I go this game again, I might choose the Fugitive since I remember that one had a speed boost when sprinting. But I guess that's because if I play this again, it's most likely going to be Sumerian, back to the same thing. Simply because if I play this again, it's probably just going to be to complete the achievements, and most of them seem to be speedrun related. But I'll see how I'm feeling about that. But for now, we're going to enjoy the... I was hoping to read that first, but...
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
Long time. Recognize
Allow
that
me
voice.
to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me.
It's because I'm so far just behind him.
Without your intervention.
You're whispering me all along.
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
Did what you could. Created the time.
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. So I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others.
Fortunately, she underestimated human greed.
Anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier, he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We were all fortunate you came along when you did.
Became a Pluto
I don't know what
himself.
happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way. She inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind.
Interesting.
She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day. And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
Of course.
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend.
Oh.
Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
Ending 4 of 4. It certainly is the longest of all of them, so I now see why it has all those different paths. Well, that was a bit embarrassing that I made that I screwed up the positioning there, but I guess I've been doing that all game, so to be expected. Well, as I said, this game is absolutely carried on its writing, and the voice actors do a pretty good job of selling everything. It pretty much completes every question, but leaves an air of mystery. Yeah, it teaches a good lesson, and well, also, or rather, perhaps not teach a lesson, but more give something to think about. Like I said, the ancient Romans being sent to our timeline, really gives a fresh perspective on the world. Because we have so many modern conveniences they would have never even dreamed of. It's no wonder one of them said it almost feels like a heaven in and of itself. A pretty small cast of characters all in all, but each of them is pretty memorable in their own way, which is really good. It's a very short but very intriguing mystery, and dang, like I said, some of them I felt I should have realized sooner. Like I should have paid closer attention to see if anyone was somehow having knowledge they shouldn't have, like that. Darn it. Alright, I should have. Oh, I don't want to... Oh. Message from developers. We hope you've enjoyed the Forgotten City. We'd love to make even better games. You can help us by recommending to a friend or writing a review. More people play, the better. First, when we announce a new project, please connect with us here. Oh, this was a very good game, and I'm really glad I took the time to play through it. Alright. I'll worry about what game I'll be playing next later. So until then, thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later. I'll see you next time.